My husband honored his mistress at my charity gala. He did not know I controlled the microphone. The gala was supposed to be the biggest night of my year. I run a small nonprofit for women rebuilding after financial abuse, and this event took 10 months to plan. My husband, Nolan, acted supportive in public. In private, he called it my little empowerment hobby. Still, he insisted on giving a speech. He said donors loved seeing a supportive husband. He said it would make us look united. I should have known he cared too much about the spotlight. 3 days before the gala, my assistant asked why a woman named Camille had been added to the VIP table. I did not know any Camille. Nolan said she was a potential donor from his office. When Camille arrived, she was wearing the earrings I lost 6 months earlier. Not similar earrings, mine. Emerald drops my grandmother gave me when I started the nonprofit. I felt the room tilt. Nolan saw me staring and whispered, "Do not start tonight." Camille smiled and said, "Nolan told me so much about your organization. It's brave how you help women who can't stand up for themselves." That sentence was a knife. I excused myself and went to the tech booth. Our event photographer had already taken several photos of Camille touching Nolan's arm. My assistant pulled up the seating notes. Camille's dietary preference had been submitted from Nolan's personal email. The note said, "Seat her where my wife can see her. It's time." I read that line 5 times. Then I opened the shared cloud folder for the gala slideshow. Nolan had uploaded his speech notes, probably by mistake. The file title was Announcement Final. Inside, he planned to announce a separation rooted in honesty during my donor event. He wrote that Camille had helped him understand real partnership. He wrote that my nonprofit had consumed me and that he deserved a woman who made him feel chosen. He was going to leave me publicly at my own charity gala and paint himself as the victim. I did not cry. I went cold because no one had forgotten one thing. Every microphone, screen, camera, and donation terminal in that ballroom was controlled by my team. Dinner started. Donors laughed. Camille kept glancing at the stage like she was waiting for her entrance. No one squeezed my shoulder for photos and whispered, "Be gracious tonight." The program began with survivor stories. Women spoke about partners who hid accounts, stole jewelry, controlled public narratives, and used embarrassment as a weapon. Nolan clapped like he was not doing all of those things in real time. Then it was his turn. He walked on stage, adjusted his jacket, and said, "Tonight, I want to speak from the heart." I nodded to the tech booth. His microphone stayed off. His screen behind him changed. First slide, the VIP seating note. "Seat her where my wife can see her. It's time." The room went silent. Second slide, Camille's text to Nolan. "Will she recognize the earrings?" Third slide, a photo of my grandmother wearing those same emerald earrings in 1989. Camille reached for her ears. Nolan turned toward the screen and said something nobody could hear because my team had muted him. I walked onto the stage with a handheld microphone that did work. I said, "Tonight's gala is about financial abuse, public humiliation, and the courage to take back control." I did not expect to become the live demonstration. People gasped. Nolan tried to take the microphone from me. Security stepped closer. Camille stood up like she wanted to run, but every table had already seen the earrings. I continued. I showed the speech file where Nolan planned to announce our separation. I showed the bank transfer from our joint account to Camille, labeled conference travel. I showed the hotel booking on the same weekend he missed, my board retreat. Then I showed the message where he wrote, "After tonight, she will be too embarrassed to fight." That was the peak, because the room was full of lawyers, donors, board members, and women who knew exactly what that sentence meant. My board chair stood up first. She said, "Nolan, leave." He laughed like she was joking. She was not. Security escorted him toward the lobby while Camille tried to remove the earrings. My assistant met her with a small envelope containing the police report number I had filed from the tech booth 10 minutes earlier. The final twist was the donation paddle. Nolan had planned to embarrass me so donors would see me as unstable. Instead, donations doubled in the next 20 minutes. One donor pledged enough to fund emergency housing for 6 women and said, "Put it under the Emerald Earrings Fund." Camille returned the earrings before leaving. Nolan texted me from the parking lot that I had ruined his reputation. I replied with the Gala livestream link.
He honored his mistress at my charity gala, so I turned his speech into the fundraiser of the year. The divorce filing included the stolen jewelry, the joint account transfers, and the public attempt to damage my nonprofit. Nolan wanted the room to watch me collapse. Instead, the room watched me take back the microphone. And if you were sitting at that gala, would you have let him speak first, or would you have muted him too? The next morning, every board member called me. I thought they were going to ask me to step down because the scandal had happened in front of donors. Instead, they asked how to protect the nonprofit from Nolan. Our treasurer had already frozen his access to anything connected to the gala, even though he never had official authority. That was the scary part. Nolan had been acting powerful in rooms where he had no power, and people believed him because he sounded confident. Camille sent a message before noon. She said Nolan told her the earrings were from an estate sale. She said he told her I was emotionally abusive, jealous of younger women, and using the nonprofit to control him. I did not argue. I sent her the photo of my grandmother wearing the earrings, the insurance appraisal, and the police report number. She replied with 3 words. I am sorry. I did not forgive her, but I did accept the screenshots she sent. There were months of them. Nolan complaining that I cared too much about broken women. Nolan bragging that donors liked him more than me. Nolan promising Camille that after the gala, the board would pressure me to step away and he would help rebrand the nonprofit with her beside him. That was when I understood the full plan. He was not just leaving me. He was trying to take the mission too. So at our emergency board meeting, I read his messages out loud. Not all of them, just enough. Then I showed the donation report. The so-called ruined gala had become our highest grossing event ever. 3 new donors joined because they said watching me respond in real time proved exactly why the work mattered. By the end of the week, Nolan's company placed him on leave because 2 donors were also clients. Camille returned the earrings in a padded envelope with no note. I wore them to the next board meeting. The funniest part was Nolan's final email. He said I had built my new identity around humiliating him. I wrote back, "No, you were just the example people finally understood." Then I blocked him. Some people ask if I regret muting his microphone. I do not. A man who planned to use my stage to break me did not deserve sound. He deserved subtitles, screenshots, and security at the door. 2 weeks later, we held a smaller donor breakfast. I was nervous walking in because I thought people would only remember the scandal. Instead, one woman stood up and said she had almost canceled her pledge, then changed her mind because she saw how quickly abuse can hide behind charm. Another donor asked if we could create an emergency legal fund for women whose partners weaponized public embarrassment. We did. We named it the Microphone Fund. He hated that. He sent one last message through his brother saying I had turned our marriage into branding. I told his brother that Nolan turned betrayal into a keynote speech. I just changed the slide deck. The emerald earrings are now in a locked drawer at my office. I wear them only for board meetings, not because they are expensive, but because they remind me that heirlooms are not just jewelry. Sometimes they are proof that the women before you survived worse and still left you something beautiful. That is what Nolan never understood. He thought humiliating me in public would make me smaller. But some rooms do the opposite. Some rooms make the truth louder.